And we are live. What is up, everybody? It is I, Xcalion, and my good friend here, Batsam.
What?
And this is episode 35 of the Speaker Podcast. So, how's everybody doing?
It's been almost
Yeah. Good, yeah.
it's been almost a year that we started this podcast.
Almost. We started it right after Witch Queen last year.
Because we started No, I thought we started just before.
Just before, that's right. It was just the week before it came out. That's right. We wanted to be ahead of the curve.
We were talking about what our experiences were going to be going in.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that now. It's I know it's however many weeks in a year or 52 or whatever, but and we did this is 35, so we did pretty good, I think. And next year I think we'll keep moving on. Try to find some better ways to try and handle it if it's going to be a solo night, or see if maybe I can talk to a friend on Twitter to maybe sub in or something like that, whatever, I don't know, but if there's a night that I can't be here, or somebody, but either way,
We'll work it out.
It will work it out. Today is Saturday, February 4th, and I do say, sir, we are on the home stretch. So only a couple of weeks away. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, life falls a little bit loose-lipped with. I'm excited. A couple weeks away. Bungie's kind of getting a little antsy in their pantsy. They're working on. They showed off just this week. They showed off a couple new weapons, a couple new exotic armor pieces that were surprisingly lacking this season.
Yeah.
On Twitter about the big exotic glaive, everyone was losing their minds over, because the big thing was everyone saw it's an exotic glaive. No, it's not. It's a heavy. We'll touch on that in a little bit, but yeah, I'm excited. And it's earlier before jumping on this, and he he threw out the word, it's going to make or break Destiny for him specifically. A lot getting thrown around specifically every time a major expansion comes out. Usually there's a pretty bad dry spell just before the next big expansion's excited for about 4 months, and then the fatigue sets in and we do this little cycle dance all over again. I think Bungie's definitely trying to alleviate that quality of life, patch improvements, UI updates. They're really going for it this year. Yeah, I'm really hopeful, but what did we say the last time we did this? Cautiously optimistic is a good way to.
Yeah, that's definitely been my term going forward. Been yeah. Same, yeah. But I think that it's been interesting because I think one thing we have seen this year is they've been a little less on the transparency, especially coming into these last few months. They've played things pretty close to the chest. As we all know, they don't really release the roadmap anymore like they used to. And they don't really release trailers the way they used to. Like, they used to release trailers months and months in advance to kind of start showing stuff off. And here lately, they've been doing all of that, even as far as the seasons go. They've been doing that closer and closer to the launch day. In fact, a lot of times, these seasons, we don't know a thing until the day of, where they'll tell us, just ahead of the launch. So it's interesting to see what's happening. Of course, this time last year, we were about to be introduced to weapon crafting. So we've had that for about a year now. And of course it started off, it was okay. They made some improvements and stuff like that along the way, which has been nice. So yeah, I think we just need to see where that goes from here. There's definitely a lot of stuff in these last couple of TWABs here today, even that really shows them trying to push this whole idea of build crafting. And they've been
Yeah.
they've been getting, really, really kind of heavy in the dirt there with that stuff. So, and you're seeing them take a lot of our exotics that we have, a lot of our weapons and stuff, and they are adding the verbiage that they have in the subclass 3.0 system to a lot of those. And so moving forward, there's going to be, like we've said before, all sorts of new ways to take care of champions. You don't have to have champion mods at all at this point in time. And then, of course, the other big part of that is you don't even have to have the mods equipped. So
nice. Right. Yeah. I think Bungie, like we've said this a bunch. Bungie is really trying to find their stride with the identity of Destiny 2. Destiny, especially in the very beginning, it was a looter shooter, kind of like the early stages of Borderlands. Lots of guns, none of them really synergized together.
Mm-hmm.
But as the years continued on, they've been going more and more into this idea that things float to armor. The armor feeds into your supers. And it became very apparent, at least this year for a lot of people, build craft of the elite players were complaining the game is too easy now. Well, build crafting has a lot to do with that. How do you circumvent that? How veteran players but still keep the attention span and the accessibility, I hate that word, for new players. A service like Destiny is they have to find this weird balance. Dark Souls does it right with, there's no difficulty. You get better, you get stronger, you learn your enemies. Games of a service like this, it has to then make it available to literally everyone who comes through the door, keep them engaged, and try to keep elite players happy. And again, I was talking about this today with one of our claymates. Bungie has always done they had great story with an excellent start and a stronger finish. The stuff with they were ground. They were always focused on their next game after the next one launched, and every subsequent game they put out, minus ODST, Destiny was a new ground for them to really kind of expand and kind of grow and really change that up. We're seeing every big expansion is basically a miniature version of the game. Great story, great content, in between stuff. They're trying, but is it enough? That's just kind of up down. Snipe says, let's see how much grinding you will need to do to hit the next rank to unlock all the mods. Also, same. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Though I'm going to say it's going to be really hard to follow along at this point. Like, I can hear most of what you're saying, but I don't think they can. Do you want to try to restart your Discord real quick? And I'll go ahead and dive into this and start talking. And there it happened again.
Fine.
Okay. All right. So Sam's going to hop off, and then just real quickly we can try to keep this going. So this week at Bungie, February 2nd, 2023, Bruno Lovier? I don't know who that is. That's a new person. This week at Bungie, we showed some new gear that's coming with Lightfall. We also previewed some of the changes coming to the weapon sandbox and even more. But first, here's a brief reminder of what we talked about in the last week's blog. We announced the new Festival of the Lost. Armor sets for voting. Deep sight weapons obtained at the helm now have a daily rotator. Iron Banner reputation gains increase. Some Bungie store rewards will expire when the season ends. Go get them. Oh, and if you didn't read about the upcoming economy updates, you can do that there as well. So that was last week. Moving into this week, Have you watched Lightfall's exotic gear trailer? A reminder to go read the Weapon Sandbox blog. It's Black History Month. Blues are gone for real this time. Vote for the next Trials map and Lightfall pre-launch downtime and pre-download details. So, again, like we said earlier, it's coming down to the wire now. Things are starting to heat up. Things are ramping up. I know, Snipe, you yourself haven't really been able to do too much lately. I know, the Stadia shutting down and all of that, and you getting your PC stuff. But it right now is just kind of a catch-up period, it seems like. The story beat and stuff like that for Season of the Seraph seems to have tampered down. And right now we're just pretty much just grinding. I think people are starting to grind their, not their Ingrams, but their bounties and stuff like that. I don't really ever do that, so I'm not worried about it myself. But yeah, and as always, you guys know we keep it real here. We touch on the stuff that matters in Destiny, like the Destiny stuff. So that's what we're going to continue to do here today, and we're going to skip through some of this stuff. Some exotic greatness. Only 26 days, my people. That's how little time we have left before Lightfall. So they showed off this trailer here, and you can kind of see right here we got that new exotic glaive. You can see the Quicksilver Storm over here and the new sidearm right here on the Warlock. That is a mighty looking glaive. I will say it looks like something that the King of Atlantis himself would be proud of. Final warning. Final warning. This is this sidearm. Hold down the trigger of this kinetic slot strand sidearm to mark targets within range and load a burst of bullets. When hip firing, projectiles track aggressively towards marked targets. So another hip fire weapon. They've really been leaning into that here. It seems like there's always something. So that's cool. A new hip fire weapon. Deterministic chaos. While holding down the trigger, every fourth bullet of this void machine gun becomes a heavy projectile that weakens targets on impact. Every fourth heavy projectile makes targets volatile on impact. Also very good there. Also a good way to take care of champions. Winter Bite, the heavy slot exotic stasis glaive, fires a large ball of energy that locks onto nearby targets and freezes them. Again, heavy glaive, that's very interesting. Shuriken's facade. After grappling, this exotic helmet gives extra protection as hunters gain body armor, only body, head still vulnerable, and flinch resistance. That's very interesting. Just one more thing for flinch resistance and all of that. Very interesting. A Dayant Leap. When Titans use their barricade, it gives extra armor to its wielder and spawns 2 additional seeking projectiles that track targets aggressively and suspends them. That is interesting. And Swarmers, the new exotic leg armor for warlocks who create threadlings to infest and attack enemies after destroying a target. More exotic weapons and armor pieces coming with Lightfall, and of course some cool legendary ones. We're keeping the details about these undercover for now, but we have pictures to share. So I just want to point this out. I saw a lot of people on Twitter. They were saying, oh great, we get 3 new weapons and 3 new armor pieces. Awesome. This is an expansion. We used to get a ton of stuff. I just want to point out, they said it right here. More exotics and weapons and armor pieces coming with Lightfall. And they said Lightfall. They didn't say anything about the seasons. They said Lightfall. So there's more stuff. Again, as we said before, they've been playing stuff more closely to the chest. They haven't really been giving us the dump of information that they used to give us. So I'll take it for now. Doesn't really bother me. That sidearm right there looks pretty cool. That LMG looks very cool. The glaive also very cool. So yeah. Weapons are a changing. Let's keep talking about weapons. Some of you love to find the perfect combination of perks for your favorite builds. Others might just be collectors looking to have the new unique role. And there are also some that enjoy min-maxing everything and want to gather the most precise information about archetypes, damage percentages, and, in the end, what will hurt bosses the most. We have some information about all of them in our weapon tuning article published just yesterday. Here's a small recap, and they're just going to kind of give us the highlights from that. Machine guns and heavy grenade launcher buffs. Very cool. Increased bonus damage for kinetic weapons. Also very cool. Legendary linear fusion rifle adjustments, mostly getting nerfed, but very specifically legendaries. Okay, so your exotic ones, Sleeper and Queensbreaker, are going to be very useful still. Subclass verbs for more exotic weapons and some tuning to various perks. As always, we get our perk changes and stuff. If you want to read more into detail about such changes, please give it a thorough read. And if you haven't checked the build crafting or legacy focusing articles, we really think you should. And there you go. Blues. Oh, look at all those blues, man. That doesn't surprise me at all. Sam is still AFK. Check in. All right. Bye-bye blues. For real this time. So after this week's hotfix 6.3.0.7, we have eliminated another source of blue engrams. Now, once you hit the soft power cap, powerful enemies that used to have a small chance of dropping a blue engram will now drop a purple engram instead. While more valuable, this replacement doesn't relieve as much inventory or postmaster pressure as we would like, and we'll need an additional update to get us to our ultimate goal. Early in Lightfall, we're planning to have powerful enemies instead drop Glimmer and occasionally a purple engram whenever they would have dropped a blue to help keep your postmaster inventory clean. Additionally, we've recently boosted gunsmith reputation gains from other sources by 25% to help everyone rank up Banshee even faster. So here's the one thing that's important. The blues, they were just so lame. They gave you a little bit of glimmer, and that was about it. At least with the legendaries, you get your legendary shards. And I think that's, to me, a little bit more important. And also, the legendaries, you can consume them for more of the postmaster reputation. So, very good. This is something that people have been asking for years at this point in time. And they've never really touched on it until now. Now they're actually doing something about it. So we had an update 2 weeks ago. It didn't really fix it. There were still some sources where we were getting a ton of blues. So they said, okay, we'll fix it next week. This past week, there it is. So there is that. Lightfall maintenance downtime. Just before Lightfall drops, Destiny 2 will be brought offline for 24 hours, starting 9 a.m. PST on February 27th. If needed, you can check your local time here. Players will be reminded of the downtime in-game and on our social media channels before it starts. During this period, players can pre-download Lightfall on all platforms. Be advised that the download file will be large, but this new installation will improve load times and overall disk space usage will be smaller afterwards. So, i.e., after this installation, the next few updates should be a lot easier. And I don't know how they did this, how they finally managed to do this. But clearly it is, I don't know. This is kind of something I expected to happen after everything was sunset, so this is very interesting. We'll just have to stay tuned and see. Once the game is brought back online and Lightfall has launched, sign-in queues are expected, especially during the first hours and peak play times. Keep an eye on @Bungie Help and @Destiny 2 Team for more information. And be sure to wrap up everything you want to achieve during the Season of the Seraph before the downtime begins. i.e., whenever the game's brought down for an hour or for 24 hours, that's, after that, you're not going to be able to do anything. So get it all done before then, all right? Try to have all your stuff wrapped up before 9 a.m. on the 27th. Okay. Moving on. Cabal Scorpions needs some tough love. Valis Forge wants us to remind you all that this has the last week of Iron Banner before the new expansion. Therefore, it's your last chance to gild your Iron Lord title if you haven't already. We increase the reputation gains all over the board, so take that into consideration when jumping into Iron Banner Fortress. If you are more into exclusive gear aspect of the event, you might want to grab some extra rolls of the weapons that are leaving the loot pool to make room for the next ones. The Iron Companion armor sets aren't going anywhere, but both the Frontier's Cry hand cannon and the Razor's Edge sword will go away to make room for the Bite of the Fox sniper and the Jorun's Claw pulse rifle. Both new versions will have the Iron Banner origin trait and new perk combinations. And last but not least, remember that we announced the Iron Banner will be a 3-week event again starting in Season 20. We'll share more information about the game modes and exact dates in the near future, which is huge. We're going to have Iron Banner 3 times a season, should be a season, again, instead of what has been 2 times. And that's been rough, especially if you like grinding that gear and you like, just doing the titles and stuff. Having it 2 weeks out of a season was really, really kind of tough, honestly. And also, I hope next season we do get a new Iron Banner an actual new game mode, because Fortress ain't it. It's literally just you play like the zone capture mode with, some ads that drop in. Like, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I would like to see something else, but that's that. The polls are open. Saint 14 takes his job very seriously and is quite proud of his range of wares. But since he likes you all, sometimes he is open to having your input in the game mode he cares so much about. So, once polls are open, you'll be able to vote for one of these 3 classic maps. Choose wisely: the Fortress, Twilight Gap, and Radiant Cliffs. Look, I'm just saying, Radiant Cliffs, please. All right, let's just be real. All right. Moving on. Now we have our important updates. Beginning Tuesday, January 31st, after hotfix 6.3.0.7, Destiny player support began seeing reports from players who had recently deleted characters concerning character progression. Yes, people logged in and their characters were gone. And it's not like all their characters, but like 1, maybe 2 of their characters would just be gone. So they had to do a full rollback. So some people that, maybe got some gear in that time between the hotfix going live and that other point in time, if they got some gear, that would have probably been reverted. It was tough, but I'm glad they got it fixed at a decent, reasonable time. But yeah, so this week, the last Iron Banner of Season 19 begins. February 27th, 24-hour Destiny 2 downtime in preparation for Lightfall. On the 28th, Season 20 begins. On the 28th, Lightfall. And on the 28th, unclaimed 2022 Prime Gaming rewards expire. So log on to your Prime, your Amazon Prime thing with the Twitch and all that, and go get your rewards. A lot of cool stuff there. And if you don't even need that stuff, you can dismantle it for some materials and stuff. So there's always that. A lot of known issues, as always, and that is it for this week. There are only a few TWABs left before Lightfall drops, and still a lot of new information we want to share with you, so don't worry, because it's certainly coming. Keep an eye on Bungie.net and our official social media channels for more standalone articles, and maybe even follow our new Destiny 2 team accounts if you want to ask us something. We're on Reddit, Twitter, and Bungie.net for now. We hope everyone is having a great time now that Season of the Seraph is entering its final weeks. There's still plenty of time to complete some of the triumphs and the titles you have left to finish more weapon patterns, reset another rituals rank, gather more materials playing pinnacle content, and even attempt a solo flawless run of the Spire of the Watcher. Just take it easy, and as always, try to have the most fun. Hasta luego, Bruno. So, that's going to be it for this week. Let me get it back up here to the top and see if I can see what's going on with Sam. He says, I have technical issues. Still holding on LF with the way that the engine has been acting up. Still not sure how good the expansion will be. The game can have the best story, but if the core content is still boring, it's a no-sell for me. Yeah, I hear you. I do hear that. I think for me, it's just I'm still having a good time doing stuff no matter what. That said, I'm still not having the best time with PvP, which, as you know, is where I spend a plethora of my time. But some of the other stuff, instead of getting salty about it myself, I just decided to start playing something else for now, right? And for me, that's been a lot of Pokemon, playing Pokemon Go with my kids, playing Violet alongside my son too, and even then it's some other stuff, maybe some different different games. So that's been kind of how I've been dealing with it, and apart from that, I'm just trying not to get super salty about it. Every game has this. There's never been a game that ended up perfect, that was never had no issues or anything. So yeah, let me hit Sam up. Alrighty. He's having computer issues altogether. Okay, that's fine. So since this was a short TWAB, I will just real quickly power through this weapon tuning preview, just to kind of give y'all some ideas of what we're looking at next season. Weapon archetypes. When playing on console, your reticle will turn red when it's over an enemy that's inside of your weapon's effective range. This is a useful visual aid that we've wanted to be global for a while, so we've also enabled this on PC. In a future season, we'll be making this color customizable, similar to the base reticle color. So the red reticle is now enabled on PC. That's pretty handy. It's a good way to know that something is in your effective range, so I dig that. Linear fusions, you probably saw this coming. LFRs outperform other heavy weapons for boss damage by a wide margin and have had plenty of time in the sun. So, reducing damage versus champions, mini-bosses, bosses, and vehicles by 15%. Sleeper and Queensbreaker are unaffected. There you go there. Snipe says they just bought Titanfall 2 on Steam for $3. Heard that the PvP was great in private servers. Titanfall was really good for a long time. It held up for years after that game was probably expired. It looks great. It played really well. And that was at a time whenever there were a lot of games that were doing that crazy, jump platforming inside of their PvP. Heck, Halo's doing it now. So, and it was kind of the first one to do it. Maybe Crysis, but I think Titanfall 2 was the first one to really do that inside of PvP. So it was good though. I really enjoyed it. Machine guns. Machine guns have been buffed a few times over the past year or so, but only in PvE. We've opted to increase their base damage a little, which makes them a little bit more forgiving to use in PvP. So, increase damage by 10% with the following effects on TTK against the Guardian with a tier 6 resilience. High impact TTK reduced from 0.67 to 0.5, rapid fires reduced from 0.53 to 0.47, and adaptives are unchanged at 0.53. Increased reserve ammo by 50% at 0 inventory stat and 20 at 100 inventory stat. So, inventory stat is a 0 to 100 value behind the scenes. This is presented as the actual number of rounds in the game, but you can't take this to mean that low reserve machine guns get a big boost, while large reserve machine guns get a smaller boost. So, there you go. Heavy GLs increase the damage versus champions, mini-bosses, bosses, and vehicles by 20%, minors by 40%. Improve projectile collision, making it slightly easier to land hits. Increase blast radius by 1 meter, and Parasite is unaffected. It does huge damage already. Parasite's unaffected, but Anarchy gets the buff, so that's going to be really huge. Anarchy back on the table. And also, going to work with some of those nice arc changes. Shotguns. Shotgun reticles now change in size proportional to spread angle. Related note, the Legend of Acarius hipfire reticle is now a bit more representative of its very large spread angle. So, there you go. Acarius kind of didn't... Whenever they did all the reticle changes, it kind of had, an issue. It didn't really get buffed, so there you go. Kinetic weapons. Kinetic primary weapon damage multiplier increased from 1.05 to 1.1. Kinetic special weapon damage multiplier increased from 1.05 to 1.15. Kinetic slot stasis weapons no longer have the 5% damage bonus versus unshielded targets in PvP. There's also kinetic damage type perk coming in Lightfall, so that's going to be huge. Ready for that. Exotics, the Queensbreaker's blinding effect was underwhelming for a heavy weapon, so we've changed how that's deployed. Note, the Queensbreaker was also not affected by the global damage reduction to linear fusions, making it substantially stronger by comparison. Shot now chains to nearby enemies and uses the Arc 3.0 blind, so that's very cool. Ruinous Effigy feels very voidy, blah. Transmutation Sphere slam attack now suppresses, which is huge. Leviathan's Breath now applies volatile on perfect draw impact. Increases damage from 396 to 442. This allows it to once again one-hit kill all supers in PvP. Increase damage versus champions by 30%. So, Leviathan's Breath. Usable, probably. Still don't know if I will, but, it might be. 1K Voices was briefly a top pick for Season 14, but has since been eclipsed by other options since. Now, each explosion applies 10 plus 5 with Ember of Ashes Scorch stacks. So, very cool. It applies Scorch now. Sunshot was a top candidate for applying solar subclass verbs, and the explosions are a clear place to be added. Explosions on kill now apply 10 plus 5 Scorch stacks. Again, plus 5 with Ember of Ashes. Polaris Lance, one of my favorites. Perfect fifth shots now apply 40 plus 20 scorch stacks instead of a custom burn. That is huge. I will be getting some use out of Polaris Lance inside of PvE now. One of my favorite PvP weapons, though. Two-tailed Fox. Very cool. The Solar Rocket now applies 60 plus 30 scorch stacks instead of burn. The Void Rocket already applies suppress, and the Catalyst completes the trifecta. They hold that close to the chest, so it'll be very interesting to see what that does now. Prometheus Lens added the incandescent perk to the Catalyst. Very cool. Grand Overture switched to Catalyst to use Arc Blind. Very cool. Hipfire Reticles added a reticle element to the Manticore, showing current stacks of anti-grav repulsor, which is very nice. It's always nice to have something on screen. Perks. Osmosis now works with Strand. Elemental Capacitor now has the following effect when using a Strand subclass. Plus 20 airborne effectiveness. Very cool. 1 second. Okay. Rewind rounds will be appearing on more weapons in Lightfall, but was custom built to only work with Vault of Glass weapon set. We've tweaked it to be a little bit more general purpose. Rebuild the work on non-Vault of Glass weapons. So, Eager Edge no longer deactivates when moving faster than 35 meters per second. Deactivates correctly after a single melee swing. Reduced the base lunge distance buff from 2 to 1.8. Reduced airborne lunge distance penalty from 25 to 20%. The enhanced perk now increases lunge distance slightly back up to 2. Blinding grenades on grenade launchers don't do arc damage, so it's not appropriate for them to trigger Arc 3.0 blind effects. We didn't feel that needed a change to be disorienting effect, though, so we've updated the name to overlap less. Renamed blinding grenades to disorienting grenades. So, Envi Stinger, this was typically a full reload when the perk activated. Now it's 25% of the magazine. So, you just got to be a little bit more aware. And we're already hard at work on seasons 21 and 22, and some of the changes we're making included adding a full auto melee setting accessibility setting, which will apply to all forms of melee. A pass-over weapon type and exotic weapon hipfire reticles, including increasing how visible the change even at a high FOV, and adding features like charge meters and exotic perk counters. We've also got balance changes in the works, but it's a little too early to get into them. We'll have more information to share post-Lightfall. So, that's going to be your blog post and your TWAB for this week. So very cool stuff. It's sad that we lost Sam. He was having some issues with his PC, so there's not really anything you can do about that. You hate to hear it. I was having PC issues. I got new RAM installed, and now we are back on the full-size monitor here, so that's nice. But yeah, I guess we're going to wrap it up here. I'm not going to continue to waste anybody's time. And, you know, it's nice. Usually we throw around some jargon and kind of BS a little bit. But I think for today, we'll probably just call it there and you know, see if we can't get Sam's computer back up and running. So I appreciate you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all of that jazz. Go check out Xcalion, at Xcalion on Twitter, and Instagram, all those places. You can find me there. If you want to hear, like, you know, me do like random, you know, stupid rants about stupid stuff, that's where I'll be. Batsam, sorry everyone. No, bro, you're good. You're good, man. It happens. It happens. But yeah, follow Batsam42 on Twitter, all of that. You can stay up to date on what he does, though I don't think he's quite as active over there. But yeah, that's where you can find us. Appreciate you for stopping by, and we'll try and fix it by next week, he says. And I trust him, because everybody needs a Sam.